Good morning. Today is Sunday, August 20th, 2023, and this is the Bitcoin weekly price forecast. So basically seeing where price went in the last week and where it could go in the future. So this was a super exciting week, super exciting last 2 days, if you want to use the term excitement. But in terms of price action, we finally got some type of movement that we haven't seen in quite some time. It was to the downside, but there were some big catalysts for that. So if we look at the monthly candle, at this point, it basically looks like January has been not January, all of 2023 has been somewhat of a range, right? So you have this major run up in January. You have February that really didn't go anywhere at all, but kind of got up to this level. And then you had March that had a major runaway. This is right after the Silicon Valley Bank incident. And then basically you had like this range. All the way here, it kind of looked like an uptrend for a while because there was a big run up to 30,000 in June. And we thought that we were going to go a little bit higher from that point. But July was a bit of a down month. August was, we're in August now. We're about 2/3 of the way through. August was the same way. August was a down month as well. But again, we still have 10 days left. So you never know how that's going to turn out. Basically what happened here is you had on Thursday afternoon, it was about 5 o'clock. So the markets had pretty much closed at that point. You got this news that Evergrande, one of China's biggest corporations, was filing for Chapter 15 bankruptcy, and it was one of the Manhattan courts, one of the bankruptcy courts. So basically that sent shockwaves through the network, just because, again, there had been rumors that Evergrande was, they were insolvent and that they were having financial issues since I think about like 2020, they were having those type of issues. But it finally all came to a head. They did file for bankruptcy. So that was one major catalyst. So that could send shockwaves basically through the financial system because, again, if they owe a lot of people, I think they owe people on the order of 200 something billion dollars. So they're working with their creditors to see how they're going to fix that situation. But that's a big one. A catalyst for why it could go down. And number two, I think there was a tweet that came out that basically said SpaceX had sold somewhere in the neighborhood of about $325 million worth of Bitcoin. At that point, if you look at the numbers, that's really less than 0.1% of like Bitcoin's market cap. So it's not a huge number, but if you hear someone say 325 million, it does sound like a little bit of a bigger number. So it's understandable, but for me, I'm not worried because, again, I'm looking at this chart right now and I see that we're still in a perfect range. So like this one, like, hey, we had a high bar here, a period of consolidation, then an explosive move. I've been saying for weeks that with this tight of a Bollinger Band, with this low volatility, that the next move, whatever it is, up or down, is going to be explosive. And that's what we saw. So at this point, we're at 26,000. 26,100. So kind of hovering right here. But the thing that I'm looking at is we're still thoroughly in this range. We're in this range that goes from roughly 31,000 all the way down to 25,000. So about a $6,000 range at this point. So we've seen this major movement in this way, and then just kind of this zigzag all along. But I think that's going to lead us to a major run up because, again, now we have the liquidity that you can pull from. Again, for every buyer there has to be a seller. So with all these people selling, this is an attractive price right here. This is a pretty attractive price with 25,000. People are buying at 30,000, so they're definitely going to buy it up, snap it up pretty quickly at 25,000. It leads again to a lot of different confluences, right? So you have this moving average, your 200 week moving average. You have there's also a weekly zone right here. You have this weekly zone that's like right below it, which would bring you down to like 22 at the lowest. But I don't even think we'll go that low. First of all, I didn't think that we get this low, but still, you just got to play the game as it arises, right? And then you also have a zone right here. It's at 20,000. And then we're still above this zone right here, this daily demand zone. We're in a range. We're above the daily demand zone. Like the bottom support line of this range is still held pretty strong. So again, we bounced off of here. We couldn't even get down here till last time. So I put you right at about 25,000, which again is a very whole number. It's a number that people, it's a psychological level pretty much. The other thing that I did do was draw this line right here. We have this dotted line that is at the bottom right here. You see where this touched. If you look at this line and you go backwards in history, this line has held for a long time. It's been a key support and resistance. So again, in June of this year, when it came down, it barely went past this line and then rocketed it up. And then we see here, it came down, rocketed it up. Maybe we can go to the weekly chart. You don't need to be that granular for that. So yeah, again, support right here, boom. It on the weekly chart, it couldn't even close below that line. The first time it did blow through it, but you came down here. You had another level of support here that where it came down. Even in this one right here, like you came down, bounced up, and then still broke through. Going back further in time. Yeah, the first time you just kind of blew through 30, what was it, 20,000? Yeah, 25,000. You blew through that the first time, but ever since then, really ever since 2020, this has been a major support level. And we've talked about 25, 30,000 for a good while. So that's not super surprising. We'll really have to see how like the economic landscape ends up looking over the next couple of days, especially with all like the different news that's coming out. But the thing that I'm looking at, if I'm just looking at the charts purely, I'm looking at the RSI for real, which is your relative strength index. You take a look at this, and that's the weekly one. If we look at the monthly chart, the monthly RSI basically shows us that we've had like this descending RSI over time, and we have this descending one here, but now we're kind of at the bottom of this channel, to where it has bounced up, and it looks like we're headed to the upside direction because it is overlapping at this point. It's in an uptrend for the RSI at least. The other thing that I look at is on the daily chart. If you go down to the RSI for the daily, this is the lowest RSI that we've had really. What is that, 2022? Yeah, that was the beginning of January of that year. The last time we really had something like this was COVID, actually. Like, and you see what we did right after that. There was always a rocket to the upside. So we come here, boom, rocket to the upside in the next couple months. And then you have, we come down here to this level, and boom, we rocketed up pretty much all of January. I mean, a decent way to find your bottoms, right? And with such an aggressive move down, I think this was much more of a fear-based move, right? It's a fear move, and then again, people react very quickly, but then you see things start to recover equally. There's always been some type of some type of dump before the pump, right? So you had something in January similar to this, to where you had like multi-days to where we just came down and then we just shot up again. And then you have to come down again, then shoot up one more time. Basically what you're doing is you're still trying to break through this level. Like, it took a couple months, and bears, well, really about a month and a half. And like the bulls were unable to break through 30,000. So again, you had one attempt here. You had to come down, draw some more liquidity so you get more rocket fuel to go back up. Boom. You do it again. And then you come down, you draw some more liquidity for the rocket fuel, and then boom. So there's still a lot of things on the horizon that I'm looking at. Like, you have the ETF approvals. Like, this isn't going to stay down for long, because once you start having like large institutional players come in and scoop up cheap Bitcoin, that price is going to continue to go up pretty quickly. So it's just something to look at. Overall, I believe that we're headed to the upside direction. So that should be really all I have to talk about. Nothing super major this week. Obviously, we have this, like, really we're at the point now where I have to kind of like wait to see how things play out. Actually, one more thing I want to talk about. So if we go to the Bitcoin futures, I just want to see if we have any type of gap. So the Chicago Mercantile Exchange is basically where like they sell Bitcoin futures, and yep, we absolutely do have a gap. Let me see. So this is Thursday. No, the gap down was on Friday. So yeah, I think we'd have to end up coming back and filling that gap too. Price closed at 26,300. 26,000 basically. So yeah, if Bitcoin moves any today, then it will. You'll end up seeing some type of CME gap, which those tend to fill. But again, we'll have to see. It's Sunday morning. You never know. I think that's about it. So definitely follow my Instagram, christalkscrypto.com. Check out the website, christalkscrypto.com. Grab a copy of Crypto Wealth Mastery. And other than that, I'll see you guys on the moon. Take care.